Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com, and we are here today with a live shop talk to talk about hydroponics. On our last shop talk there were a lot of questions about hydroponics, so I just wanted to kind of share with you today a video on high-tech gardening. And so I'll be taking you on a quick tour of our hydroponic greenhouse, so come on in. It's a little bit of a mess in here right now because my focus is on producing food and my focus is not on keeping things really neat, but I want to go through some of my hydroponic systems. This is a thin nutrient film system, and this system is what we grow our greens on, and you can see that we are having exceptionally strong results in growing greens. Now, I grow things where I'm planting in stages so that I'm harvesting every day. And with this system, we are able to harvest 6 heads of green each day. And we're growing bok choy. These are very large bok choy. We're growing purple bok choy. And then we're growing 2 different types of lettuce. And so each day we will be able to harvest 3 heads of lettuce, 2 heads of this large green bok choy, and 1 head of the purple bok choy. So every day we pick 6 large full heads. And I'll kind of take you, this is the bok choy, this is the purple bok choy, this is the bib lettuce, okay, the bib lettuce, and then this down here is the romaine lettuce. And you can see that we are planting in stages, and so if you want to come here closer and kind of look down the row, this row of 12 is ready to harvest. This row of 12 is ready to harvest. This row was planted a week earlier. This one a week earlier. This one a week earlier. This one is 2 weeks old. And then this row here is the seedlings that we just planted. And so these are the youngest ones. Well, also we have a little tray where we have just the seeds. And so you can see that we're on a 7-week cycle. These are 1 week old, 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old, 5 weeks old, and here at 6 weeks we're ready to harvest. And so you can see that we have these zones. Let's come back over here and see how this system works as far as I guess I can show you that there is no soil or no growing media. These things just grow in a little trickle of nutrient solution that go down in the tray. There's no growing media in the tray. But everything is fed through this tank here, okay? And this tank has, basically I create RO water because I want to control the nutrients very carefully. And so this tank starts with RO water, very pure reverse osmosis water, and then we put nutrients in it. The nutrients are mixed from a powder. I create 2 very highly concentrated baths of nutrient. This is 1 part, this is the 2nd part, because you can't mix high concentrations of multiple different chemicals or the chemicals begin to precipitate out. So the high concentration, I have to have 1 set of chemicals here, 1 set of chemicals here. Then when I fill this tank, then I just get a scoop of nutrient of A, a scoop of nutrient B, and put it in there. And then I have a test system that I monitor the nutrient solution. In the nutrient solution, we should see an electrical conductivity about 1.8 would be ideal. And so I will drop this down in there and then see if I can make a reading of the nutrients. Let's see. Let me try this. See if we can get a reading. Okay, it's coming up. Again, 1.8 would be ideal. And it looks like we're not quite there, about 1.2. So what I'm seeing is with the conditions right now, I should add probably a half a cup of the 2 things to bring the nutrient concentration up a little bit. It's not critical, the things would be very happy at this level, but a little bit higher, I'm going to get a little bit faster growth. Similarly, I've got a pH probe and I can probe the pH. So once a day, I will fill the tank and I will adjust the nutrients. And so it takes about 5 minutes a day to monitor this system, and then most of the rest of the work is just picking the vegetables. So what happens, down in this tank we have a pump. The pump comes up right here, it's filtered. Okay, then it goes down this pipe, all right? It comes up this pipe, and then it goes into these two black hoses, and then the black hoses have smaller hoses, and those smaller hoses give a nice little trickle to the plants, okay? Because these hoses are small, they're subject to clogging, and that's why I have to use that filter, that you have to have the water filtered before it gets here. But if we peek inside here, if you can see inside, you can see that it's just a tray, it's just a stream creating a little stream of nutrients, and the roots just dip down into that and they get exactly what they want, and they just grow really, really, really well. You can see that everything's happy and we're getting a whole lot of production. I should say we're not even running this at maximum capacity, because with 5 people in the home and producing 6 large heads of greens, it's all we can do to eat all those. We'll have like a large salad for lunch, and then for dinner we'll have like a vegetable with the meat that we have. But all of our vegetables that we eat, we grow here. Okay, so this is the NFT system. It's based on continuous circulation. Okay, we're continuously circulating, and once a day I refill the tank and adjust the nutrients. Doesn't take much time at all. 5 minutes a day to keep this tank up. No weeding, no bugs, no problems like that. Then the second thing is you've got to pick every day. That takes about 5 minutes. And then once a week we plant our seeds for the week. And then for the first week the seeds are growing in here. Then they're moved to the system and we replant the seedlings. So it's a system by which we are constantly harvesting, okay? And it doesn't take much time. It does just require you to be organized. Okay, our second system is a Dutch bucket system, and here we have the tank in the floor, because the tank has to be below the level of the buckets, and that way as the nutrient exits the bucket, it drains back into the main supply tank. This is an example. You can see that down in the tank we have a pump. The pump is on a timer. It comes on for 5 minutes every couple of hours, so it's not continuously recirculating. It's feeding once an hour for about 5 minutes. It comes up this black hose. It goes through this filter. Again, the key with hydroponics is you have to filter, 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 or you will end up with things clogged. From here, it comes down this black hose, and then we have these emitters with these things, injectors that inject the nutrient into the bucket. Let me see if I can turn this on. Okay, I just hit the on switch. It's on a timer, but I can turn it on manually. And you can see when I turn it on, it gets a drip. That drip feeds the bucket. The bucket has a perlite grow medium. It's like a very light, almost like puffed rocks. Okay, that goes down and feeds it. Again, it's on a timer, and then you can see that the tomatoes here are very, very happy. The tomatoes are looking very good. These are cherry tomatoes. The one thing I have to do, since there's no animals in here, I have to pollinate. So I just use this toothbrush, and I come, and every day I just hit the blooms, and these will therefore pollinate just by kind of shaking them a little bit. You don't have to do this, but you get a lot better production, a lot better yield if you just take 5 minutes and hit the blooms every day. So that is tomatoes in Dutch buckets. Over here we've got a cucumber in Dutch bucket. You can see that it's very happy, it's doing very well, and it should be beginning to put on very small cucumbers. Like this will make a cucumber. Here's a small cucumber. In less than a week, that cucumber will be ready to pick. Over here we have a more mature cucumber vine, and we just pick the cucumbers off of it, but we are generating cucumbers every day off of this vine. You can see that this one is about ready to take out. It's gotten so big that it's kind of gotten too big. You can see the small cucumbers here that are will be ready in the next probably 4 or 5 days. They grow incredibly fast. But what you can see is I want this one producing before I take this one out. And so it's not so much that I want to produce 50 cucumbers in a day. What I want to produce is I want to produce constantly, so every day I can come out and have some cucumbers to eat. I'll show you again back to this Dutch bucket system that after you can see that this has been dripping, well, as this has all the water it needs, the excess water begins to drain out of this little hole, okay? And then it goes down into this tube, or into this pipe here. And I accidentally knocked this off, so I'll put it back on. And then this gray line comes back and drains back in here. So you're not wasting any water, you're not wasting any nutrient. And see if you can get a view of the excess running back into the tank. So again, it recirculates, with the difference being that this one only comes on once an hour and isn't constantly running. So I can go ahead and turn it off and put it back on the automatic circulation. So these tomatoes, we're fixing to, within a few days, these cherry tomatoes will be ripe and ready to pick. And so those are coming along very nicely. The cucumbers are producing very nicely. And then here we have some of the larger tomatoes. And these you can see are just very, very healthy. And see if you can show these tomatoes here that are coming on. So you can see that those are very, very happy and doing very well. Okay, so that's system number 2. System number 1 is a nutrient thin film system that just has a little stream of nutrients. It's great for growing greens. You can grow all different types of lettuces, all types of greens. It's not good for other things because the roots will overtake the small trays, but it's perfect for greens, and the greens grow very, very quickly. The Dutch buckets are very good for vines. So we have tomatoes and we have cucumbers. You can grow pretty much any type of vine that you want, but those are the things we eat in salad, so those are the things we're focusing on. So that's the second type of system. The third type of system that I'm looking at in here is organic soil. Okay, so the hydroponics is great because it's very high tech, but we're also investigating organic soil. So you can see that we have these large buckets that we have an organic soil mixture in. We fertilize with organic bat guano and sort of a fish emulsion. So the fertilizer is all organic, the soil is all organic, and we are producing zucchini. And you can see that we've got some nice zucchini. Again, we just picked these, and so there's a couple there. Probably that one this afternoon. This one down here this afternoon will be ready to pick. Also, we're always composting, so any excess organic material we add to these buckets. An important part of our scheme is earthworms, and so each one of these buckets is just crawling with earthworms, and so we keep the worms in here so that as we throw stuff down, the earthworms come up and eat it, and so we're constantly generating compost with this material. I wish this was neater, but again, with all the different projects I'm doing, I focus on getting a lot of food production, not doing a lot of time keeping things perfectly straight out here. These tomato plants over here in the soil are about ready to be taken out. Okay, they're about ready to be taken out. And you can see that I've gotten a little bit behind on doing the pruning. I haven't taken them out because they're still producing. And so I'm kind of waiting for these Dutch bucket systems to start putting tomatoes on before I take these out, because even though they're looking kind of ratty, we are still getting a bucket of tomatoes from them every day. What we're noticing is, in comparing the hydroponics to the organics, things grow twice as fast with the hydroponics. And so, like if we do the bok choy in hydroponic system, it grows and matures twice as fast as it will with organic soil. Why am I doing organic soil then? Well, just because I am not sure, as beautiful as these plants are, I'm not sure that you're really getting all of the trace minerals, because the only nutrients in the plant are the nutrients in the bucket that you use to create the nutrient solution from, to where in soil with earthworms and decaying things and all of that, you really are much more sure that you're getting all of those trace minerals that you would like. Okay, getting back in here, we also are growing peppers. This is a nice bell pepper plant. You can see that we've got an orange bell pepper that's just about ready to pick. And then also back here we are growing hatch green chilies, and so we are getting some just really exceptional chilies. You can see that this one we've allowed to mature to be a red chili. So what I will do is, it's the same breed of pepper, but this one we let to mature to the red stage. They're also exceptional green. So we pick them as a few are turning red and a lot green. We'll take them inside and roast them, and then we'll chop them and then vacuum seal them and freeze them to create sort of a ready to use, I won't call it a salsa, but just sort of a chopped roasted green chili. It's good on eggs, it's good on hamburgers, it's good in soups. And so we keep the freezer full of these hot peppers processed and chopped up, because we enjoy spicy food, and so we produce these things year round, so the freezer is always full. So, so those are the three systems: organic soil, nutrient thin film, and Dutch buckets, and those are the three systems that we're using. This is a picture here of our water plant, or this is our water plant where we have these large capacity RO systems so that we can generate all the water that we need here. Because if you start with completely pure water, you are much more easy to get the nutrients perfect, because you're not dealing with the minerals that are already in the water. So we have gotten the best result to start with RO water. Okay, let's talk a little bit about environmental control. When we're talking about nutrient, you also want to keep the temperature perfect for growing conditions. So in the winter, you have to keep it warm. The way we do that is we have a hot water heater, and this is a very, very nice hot water heater, very high efficiency. And then we have a temperature sensor here, okay? So the temperature sensor monitors what the temperature of the greenhouse is. In the winter, and I try to not put it on the floor, but just kind of dangle it so you get sort of a good kind of average air temperature. But what happens is, as the temperature begins to drop, this control unit, which is a PID controller, will sense that the temperature is dropping. So it doesn't wait until it gets cold. It looks at the derivative of the temperature and sees, hey, it is getting colder, we are going to have a problem soon, and so it starts dealing with the problem before the greenhouse gets cold. And when it sees that this is on its way to getting cold, there is a pump here, this red pump, okay, that red pump is hooked up to the hot water heater, and in the concrete floor is a PEX tubing that goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So all in the concrete floor is this tubing. When it begins to look like it is going to get cold, the water in the hot water heater is always hot, but then the pump turns on and takes that water and puts it into the floor. But it's a very intelligent control system, so it doesn't pump the water, and pump the water and say, oh, look, it's 70 degrees now, I can turn the pump off. No, because by that time, then the water would continue to heat, and you would end up with the greenhouse at 100 degrees. So it looks at the signal, and it does a very sophisticated analysis. So it turns the pump off before it gets to 70, knowing that the temperature will continue to rise for some time. So it's a very intelligent PID controller that is turning the pump on and off. But basically, we maintain heat just simply by turning a pump on and off with a hot water tank. And then as you heat from the floor, it works very well for hydroponics, because all the bucket systems, it keeps the roots warm, which is what you really want to do. Now we have a backup if for some reason either this can't keep up, or if all of a sudden the room is getting cold. Overhead here we have a natural gas furnace, And so if for some reason the hot water heater malfunctions, this will turn on and instantly heat the thing up so that you wouldn't lose a crop. I am not sure this thing has ever come on because this radiant floor heat system has worked so well. It has worked so well that I don't think it's ever required this overhead furnace. Actually, it turns out the easy part is to keep things warm. The harder part is to keep it cool in the summer. So let's go outside and show you how that starts. So we'll come around to the back fence. Okay, so you see we have this shutter system. As the day begins to get warm, temperature sensors inside will sense that. And the first thing they will do is open one shutter here. Okay, it will open shutter. There's servos, right? We did Arduino lessons on servos. The servos will open this shutter all the way up. And then if that doesn't cool it off and the temperature continues to build, the second thing that will happen is a fan on the other side will turn on to start drawing the air through. And so we'll come back to this side. So this fan will come on and it will pull air through the greenhouse. It will pull it from the outside through that open shutter and then through the greenhouse and out. So the first thing that it does is to just bring cool air in, and the fan comes on in low. Because again, you don't want to overshoot where you're going. You're getting a little too warm. You don't want to freeze the plants out, so you start trying to cool things gently. First thing is the shutter comes open. If that's not enough, then the fan comes on low. Then finally, the final thing that will happen if the temperature continues to rise, we have a wet wall here. And on the other side of the wet wall is the shutter. So if the first shutter is open and the fan is on low and the temperature continues to build up, what will happen then is the second shutter outside will open. So now two shutters open. The fan will turn on high, and then this tank of water has a pump in it. This tank of water has a pump in it. The pump will turn on, come up, filter the water, and then go through a pipe here and cover these pads with water so that you're drawing the air through the water-coated pads, and that will cool it. And then at that point, you will stay cool. Also, since we're in West Texas and it's very hot, we have a shade cloth on in the summer. Now in the winter, we'll take the shade cloth off of the, because then that helps to keep it warm. But let's see, John, maybe you can come over here and just sort of scan around and show all of the nice production that we're getting. We are producing a whole lot of food in this greenhouse. We produce all of the vegetables that we eat in here, and then we produce really, way more than what we're able to eat. And so this has just worked out really, really well. Let me, while you're here, show you one more aspect of our food production. You can see that we're growing all of our vegetables. We also have chickens, and let me show you our chicken operation real quick. So on this property, we are on 10 acres, and we just have free-range chickens. And you can see one of them here that's just going around. The nice thing about free range is they get to eat what they want. They find a lot of their own food, and since we don't have any poison of any type on this property, it's very natural and very organic production. This is our chicken coop. Very, very simple. The chickens at night know to go in there. All we have to do is at night we have to go and we have to close the little door. We do have raccoons and fox And so we have to be diligent at dusk to close them up because the varmints come out at night. And then to collect the eggs, we just raise this up. It's still pretty early in the morning, so I don't think we'll have any eggs yet. Well, there's one there, but they usually lay their eggs about midday. Looks like we got another chicken coming in about ready to lay an egg. But we just come out and gather the eggs here, okay? And then this, you could have about 30 chickens in here. Our chickens are getting a little bit old and their egg production is going down, so we have a new batch of chickens. And that new batch of chickens is over here in our larger coop. I think this coop would hold about 100, but right now we have 35 of these. And we're not letting these chickens out yet because they're about 10 weeks old, and we're letting them get a little bit bigger before we start letting them out. And you can see we have a variety. We've got the red star and the Easter layers. The red stars lay big brown eggs and the Easter layers lay colored eggs. And so when we collect our eggs, we've got a nice variety of color in the eggs. But probably in the next week we'll start letting these chickens out. And so between these two coops, we have room for probably 135 chickens. Right now, we have about 40 chickens that we are, we have probably 45 or 50 chickens all together right now. And given that we're 5 people, and that would produce 35 eggs a day, again, we're producing way, way more than we can eat. So what I kind of just wanted to talk to you today about is kind of high-tech sustainable farming and kind of combining technology in the greenhouse with kind of old school production like the backyard chickens and the organic farming. We're kind of trying to bring together the high-tech with the traditional organic and trying to create a really sustainable system. Would love to hear your comments down below, what you think about this. Is this interesting technology? Is this stuff you would like to hear more about, or would you just rather hear about Arduino programming? Okay, Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com. You guys leave your comments below and I will talk to you guys later.